Going to continue our little route description of the West Highland Way, and this is part 5, and this is going to cover from Auchtertyre to Bridge of Orchy. This naturally falls into 3 sections, which hopefully you'll think is fairly natural as I go through it. So there's 3 sections, one from Auchtertyre to Tyndrum to a bridge where you cross the railway, or the river actually, and then the next bridge is Bridge of Orchy. So it falls into 3 sections. So when you leave Auchtertyre, it's been quite a key checkpoint in the sense that it's just over halfway, but in lots of people's minds it's a good halfway point. You're about 50 miles in with 45 to go, so you've broken the back of it in the sense of you're over halfway, but there's still a long way to go. This year Katrina and myself, we're going to be the marshals at Auchtertyre. For many years Linda Welsh has done it, and we really thank her for all her hard work and all the time that she spent, but she feels it's time for her to have a rest and someone else take over, so we volunteered to do it this year with the team. And I must admit, I'm looking forward to it because I think it is quite a key checkpoint in people's minds. If you get to Auchtertyre, then you know that you're well on the way, and you can start to really focus on the next section as you head off. So we're looking forward to supporting all the runners as you come through Auchtertyre. So the first mini section is Auchtertyre to Tyndrum, and that is 2.37 miles, 187 feet of climb and 20 feet of descent. You follow the checkpoint and you just follow the road out. It goes past the wigwam shops, over a little bridge, and then you just follow out for about half a mile. And then it used to be that you had to cross over the A82 again, but it's quite a tricky part because it's a fast section of the road. But fortunately now they've built a little tunnel, so you go under the road, so you don't have to worry about getting knocked over. And then from there right into Tyndrum, it's a decent path. Some of it's a bit rockier, but it's quite a good path to be able to run on, and there's not a lot of ascent, descent. So if you're feeling okay, then you basically can run most of it. A few little walking bits if you need to, but basically it's pretty runnable all the way to Tyndrum. You go over a stream, follow the river along. You go up over a little road where you sort of climb up and then cross over on the other side, well signposted, and then you head your way into Tyndrum. Now notice that I've been following this map, which is the footprints map, and I realised that it's got some good little sections here about the history, so I thought I'd add some of those in if I get the right way around. Here we go. So this area of small hills and lockards between the river Coronish and the Crom is known as Dalry, the King's Field. Legend has it that in 1306 Robert the Bruce suffered defeat here by the MacDougals of Lorne. So there you go, a little bit of history to show us on our way. As you follow that path, it goes round again. There's another little section where you just have to take a left and onto a bigger path, but again it's well signposted, just keep your wits about you, but it's fine. And you've got a nice little path there, quite wide. Trucks or tractors and whatever can go down there, and then you cross another stream, head a bit of a climb up over a cattle grid, and then you take a right and there's a fire beater there, some of the fire beaters, and then you take a right there onto a smaller path, well, big signpost, so you can't really miss that one. And then you follow that small single track through the bracken and the bits of woods and rocks and stuff, for another mile or so. You go past the old I think it's a mine or a smelting area, and you can see the main road to your right now, and you can almost feel Tyndrum just ahead. And then you make your way through the woods onto a wider path, and then for the last half a mile maybe, you're just running alongside the stream on a big path. And you tend to find that if you're there during midday, which a lot of people will be, sort of in the between midday and 3 o'clock, I would imagine most people will be going through there. It's a very popular place. People just go for a wander up and down the river. You've ran almost over 50 miles and then just had a little stroll from Tyndrum. But anyway, it's nice to be greeted by them, and you make your way into Tyndrum. Once you get to the end of that path, take a left, you go past By the Way. It was Kirsty and her team there are very supportive of the race. Sometimes she's out with a bit of banana cake at certain times, so you might get a bit of a pickup there. Go past the railway station, the lower station, over a stream, through a gate, down over a stream, and then just follow into Tyndrum, and that's the end of that mini split. I always take my split from the road. You go right up to the road, cross over the A82, and then I take my next little sort of split from there. So the second mini split goes from Tyndrum, goes from the road, Brody's, to the bridge, which is 3.34 miles. And there's 305 feet of ascent and 413 feet of descent. So you go over the road, past Brody's store, go up the track. Again, it's quite a wide road, starts off tarmacy and then becomes sort of rocky. Can be a little bit wet in places if it's been much rain. And it's probably a climb for a good half a mile or so. So again, depending on how you're going, I tend to walk up that bit, having something to eat or something. But I'm sure some of the faster runners are still running up that hill. Once you get to the top, you go over a bridge, take a left over a stile, and then you're following the railway line. And that's quite a nice little section. And again, if you are running, then you're able to run most of that to the next stile. I always feel if I'm running there, then I'm quite happy. But sometimes I'll tend to sort of run for a bit and walk for a bit. But basically it's a runnable section all the way to the stile. You've got the railway to your immediate left, and then you've got the road a bit further over. And sometimes you get people giving you a honk as they go past, some of the support teams. So it's quite nice to get a little bit of encouragement as you make your way on there. Once you get to the stile, you go over the stile, and then it becomes a rockier path, and you've got a bit of climbing then, not too much, but you're up on the sides of the hill basically, but there is a little bit of uphill, and I'd say the path becomes rockier. It's still very clear, but it's definitely a rockier path rather than a smoother path. Then once you've got to a certain point, then you head down, and it's quite steep, can be a bit grassy, a bit slippy if it's been wet, and you make your way down to the tunnel. You go over the stile, through the tunnel. I think that one's tall enough, you don't need to worry about your head, but it's quite small and narrow. But you make your way over, through that, over to the stile, down the other side, and then you join a main path. And then from there, you've got basically about a 2-mile run all the way down to the bottom, and that is runnable. And for me, that's always a sign if I'm going to have a good day. If I'm able to run the majority of once I've gone to the tunnel under the railway, if I can run on that path all the way down to the bridge at the bottom, then I know I'm going okay. If I'm struggling to run and my quads are starting to hurt and I'm starting to get a bit sore, then I know it's probably going to be a longer day from then on. So that's always a good little tester for me to see how things are going, and hopefully you'll be feeling strong and running well, because it is just a gradual downhill run all the way to the bridge. You'll see what I mean when you get to the bridge. At the end you go over a stile, and then there's a big stone bridge there where the river runs over that, and that's where I take my next mini split. And then from that bridge, the Bridge of Orchy is my third mini split, and it's 3.33 miles, 89 feet of ascent and 226 of descent. And from that point there's a good path all the way to Bridge of Orchy. You make your way on the path. It's quite rocky in places. You got to watch your feet, especially if you will be getting tired. Just make sure you don't trip on that. But there's lots of runnable bits, and there's bits where it's more of a climb. So again, depending on how well you go. Personally, I tend to be walking all the ups from this point onwards, or if not well before this. So there's some bits to walk and there's some bits to run. But again, it's a nice little section. And again, I'll just read out a little bit of the history of this part. Duncan Ban MacIntyre, one of the greatest Gaelic poets, lived hereabouts in the 18th century before moving south to Edinburgh. He was illiterate. Friends wrote down his poems for him, and he is not well known outside Scotland, as his poems lose much in translation. One of his most famous verses celebrates the great mountain of Ben Dorain, and that mountain just dominates that skyline to your right. It's a beautiful mountain. It's hard to climb that way up. When I've been up it, I always go from Bridge of Orchy and go the other way up, but it just dominates the landscape to your right there. So if it's good weather, you can have a look at that and see that splendid mountain. So you climb up, you keep on going up that path, you get to the top really, and you go again over the stile, over the railway bridge, and there used to be a railway station there that's now been converted to a house or something. Once you've gone over the bridge, you take a left over another stile, again well signposted, and then you've got a path all the way down then to Bridge of Orchy. And I would say that the majority of that 1.5 miles or so again is mainly downhill. So if you're still going well, then you'll be able to run a good part of that. There are a few little rises obviously, and there's a few little streams you cross and various things, but it's quite a nice little section to be able to run all the way down to Bridge of Orchy. Once you get to just before Bridge of Orchy, you've hit the railway station, so there's a little gate to go through, and then you're onto some stone steps underneath the railway. Take a right onto the main road and then just follow that road. It just takes a curve to the left and then down onto the 82 where the hotel is. Again, be really careful crossing the road. Sometimes we have marshals out there to help you, but it's a fast section of the road, so just make sure you give yourself enough space to get across. And go past the hotel, which is on your left, the big white hotel, head down, go over the stone bridge, and the checkpoint is just after that. So that section from Tyndrum to Bridge of Orchy is 9.18 miles. You've got a total of 394 feet to climb and 639 feet of descent. So that's section 5 of our West Harlem Way race this week.